here's the book. So I hope you have the book by now. It is everywhere you get books. It is on Amazon. It's on Barnes and Noble. It's just wherever you get books. It is in paperback. It's in hardback. I should have brought one of those over there. Over here, it's on the Kindle. It's on Audible. It's on audiobooks. It I don't know if it's at the libraries yet, but it will be at some point. I mean, I think audio and paper. So you can keep a lookout for that. And so I just want to say a few things, because I haven't done this yet in here, about, hey Peggy, okay, I see, oh, you guys are sweet. Thank you, Ruth Ann, very sweet. So I'm not seeing the comments on the computer. That's kind of irritating, but oh well, I'll just look on my phone. So you guys, if you have questions, ask them and I will look at them and answer them. But let me just real quick go over just a few basics about the book before we get to the Reignite planner, which I'm going to show you the inside of, because I want to see the inside of planners, don't you? And I don't think there's any way to see that right now. So with the book, the title has a double meaning. 60 is a good start. I mean, I wrote it when I turned 60 and freaked out. So you'll hear that story in the beginning. But it's also 60 is a good start, meaning 60 days is a good start. Because Dr. Caroline Leaf, one of my favorite authors and neuroscientists out there, she's real famous, she's written tons of books. She says, and I believe her because she has actual proof looking at these cells in the brain, that it takes at least 2 months, sometimes up to 8 months, to create a new habit. And that's what this is all about. We're talking about longevity and doing those habits that are going to keep us healthy and allow us to live long in a healthy way, right? So it takes 2 to 8 months to create a habit. 2 months, 60 days. So 60 is a good start. It doesn't end there. 60 is a good start. So that's why the book has a double meaning. And it is lined up with a lot of longevity studies and proof on which lifestyle habits are going to help us with longevity. So I talk about the blue zones. There's a number of Harvard studies. I mean, one had like 226,000 women in it. There's another guy named Jason Proll who did something called the Human Longevity Project, kind of like the blue zones, but it's another guy doing kind of similar stuff. And even a book called Radical Remission by Dr. Kelly Turner, which is about cancer and longevity with that too. So, and they all pretty much are saying the same things. So I'm gonna tell you what they say. It's just a few things. I've got them right here. So eat well, use herbs, source your products carefully, exercise, get into nature, get enough sleep, lower stress, be optimistic, follow your intuition, pray or meditate daily, belong to a faith-based community, put family and friends first, and have a purpose that energizes you. So they all come down to those things. And so in this book, I've developed a framework called the Self-Perpetuating Circle of Purpose. And within that, there are 3 pillars. It's like a circle. And it's body work, brain work, and world work. And all of those divide into those 3 categories. And so then the book is talking about all those things on a lot of different levels, lots of studies and stuff like that. But it leads you to what I call the 60-day dare. And it's a challenge. And so what you're going to do is pick one thing. I mean, you could pick more if you want. It just depends on where you are in your life. You can start anywhere. Maybe you've never moved your body regularly and you don't know that you can walk to the end of the block. Well, that's where you start. Or maybe you're super athletic or super, I don't know, in your purpose. Just wherever you are, you can start, because we always want to do better, right? We always want to do better. So you pick one thing from each of those categories. one thing from the body, which is going to be the physical stuff, one thing from the brain, which is going to be the mental, emotional, spiritual stuff, and one thing from the world category, which is your purpose and your relationships. And then you engage in your 60-day dare, and you do those things every day for 60 days, and you will be creating new habits, right? So that's the goal, because we want to get to the end of our life feeling like we lived a life well lived. We don't want to have regrets, right? We don't want to have regrets. And I love the line, your future is hidden in your daily routine. So our daily routine, we got to get that right. Okay. So, hey, Abby, love the book. Oh, you're sweet. You definitely helped me get your lifestyle on a healthier path. Well, we help each other, don't we? Thank you. Okay, so let's see. I think that gives you the basics of the book. And so I thought, oh my gosh, I've got to give you a planner too, which I've always wanted to do. And some of my friends know that. I say I'm a planner addict. It comes from the producing background decades ago, but also the homeschooling, just like planning stuff. I don't know, maybe that's why I did those things, because I love to plan things and kind of get myself organized. It just makes me feel good. So I created a planner to go with this, because you got to track it, and you may have a system that works for you. And if you do, great, just use your system. But if you want to try my system, I've kind of like taken just what works for me over all the years and put it together. Then you can try this too. So here's what it looks like. And I will show you what I did. I just got mine yesterday, and I went and had it spiral bound. So I have a friend, Lori, who spiral binds everything. And I always think, I need to go do that with, various kind of reference books and things like that. But it is really a major hassle to get these spiral bound from Amazon. And so maybe at some point we will be able to do that, but not yet. So if you are here in Enid, I just took this to PDQ Printing. Took it yesterday or day before, picked it up the next day. It was $9. It's $7 to spiral bind it if you just get a clear cover on it. But I had them laminate the front and the back. So that was $9 to do that. And you're investing in making these 60 days work, right? Whatever we have to do to make it work. Make it easy, make it doable, make us be successful. Okay. So, yes, I love my planners, Evie. All right, so let's see what is in the planner. Table of contents. Oh, sorry if I hit the mic there. All right, so the first little section is, and it's not a lot, but it's just like, okay, where are you in your life? And I love doing this. You do a self-evaluation of all the areas of your life. So there's that. It's on the second page too. There's like 14 things. 1 to 10. Where are you in that area? Food. Do you eat mostly healthy foods? Where are you? A 1 to 10. 1 is the worst. 10 is the best it could ever be. So you just do a self-evaluation, and that is a great way to start to, and then you go look at that and you go, what did I rate the lowest? And maybe that is something you want to address in your 60-day dare. Just a great way to kind of assess. And then it's got some other spots for just answering some reflection questions. These questions are in the book. Here's a place to answer them. Then there's prepare. So that is just reminding you of the rules of the 60-day dare. So if you haven't read the book yet, in the bodywork section, you're going to pick one thing from the big 5. Each section has the big 5. So in the bodywork section, you're going to pick something from either eat, and it's whatever you want to do. just do a clean diet, or maybe you want to not eat wheat for 60 days, or maybe you want to not have sugar for 60 days, or not have alcohol for 60 days, or whatever, or maybe you want to add stuff for 60 days. You're designing this for you. Everybody's different, right? So we can't do the same thing. Number 2 is drink half your body weight, at least half your body weight in ounces of water a day. That's a hard one for a lot of people. You got to keep it with you all the time to make that happen, right? The third one is move your body. That is going to be exercise. And, maybe you're going to walk a certain number of steps or a certain number of minutes per day. Maybe you're going to lift some weights. Maybe just, it's move your body. Maybe you're going to do some yoga stretching. But whatever it is, it's going to be every day for 60 days. So set yourself up to be successful. What would that be? So I do Pilates or weights 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. I go to my gym and I do that. But I also like to walk, but I have not been regular lately on that. And, maybe it's winter, I don't know. But so I'm really in my mind going, how many steps can I be successful at? Because there's some days that I just don't get very many in. I'm just like, oh darn, I sat for too long. So really, think about it and set yourself up. Make it a challenge, but also don't make it not doable, right? Sleep, that's the fourth one. Focusing on getting 7 to 9 hours of sleep. We really need to do that. That's so important. One of my favorite things is my Oura ring. O-U-R-A, Oura ring. Look it up and read about it. We can talk more about it, but I love that thing. And then the fifth is breathe, deep breathing. This is huge. When you read the stuff in the book about the deep breathing and the studies and what it does for you, like 10 minutes a day, it's really a big deal. Okay, so then you're going to pick one thing from brain work. Write. And this is journaling. It can be just getting what's in your brain out on paper. There's some great neuroscience stuff about just writing, with your hand on paper. It can be trauma stuff that you need to just get out that maybe you haven't gotten out. So write is one option. Read at least 10 pages a day of something uplifting, nonfiction. We're not talking about fiction, we're talking about nonfiction, something that's going to improve you in some way. Could be this book, or just whatever, could be improving a skill or something that could have to do with your business, something like that. Clear is the third one. That is either, or you can do both during the 60 days. Decluttering. Take a space, declutter it. There is something so mental about that, and that is uplifting. It can be the junk drawer in the kitchen. It can be your closet. It can be your shirts. It can be your bookcase. I don't care. And also the other option is detoxing your house. So get on get in a lot of us still have a lot of toxic chemicals in our house. And you can go look under your kitchen sink and in your laundry room and in your bathroom. That's usually where those things are. And start getting things that don't have chemicals in them. That's clearing. Fourth thing is meditate, and that includes meditation, prayer, affirmations. 10 minutes a day. And the fifth thing is create. I recommend 30 minutes a day. Some kind of creative outlet. For me, it's needlepoint. And it is a total de-stressor for me. This is not, if you are like an artist and you sell your paintings, that's different. That's in world work. This is just your own sort of internal thing that you enjoy that is a de-stressor. And I give you a ton of options. And if you don't have anything, that maybe you can try some things, or that could be your 60 days that you're going to try some things. Okay. And then in world work, the big 5. Now in world work, the difference is you get to rotate among them during the week. So you're not choosing one thing. You can choose one thing to do every day for 60 days, or you can rotate some of these. So you could choose 3 things, and you might do one of them 5 days a week, and one day a week, and one day a week. So 7 days a week. Those are dream is the first one. So if you don't know what your purpose is, I have 60 dream questions at the end of the book. And you would answer one of those, like in a journal, write your answer to one of those each day of your 60 days. And I really think that will lead you to what you think your purpose is right now, or it will definitely get you on the road to that, for sure. Number 2 is engage. So remember, world work is about purpose and relationships. So engage. Have a positive, intentional connection with somebody. Family member, and not just a text, but like it could be a phone call, it could be in person, but just, where you're intentionally having, maybe you're trying to improve a relationship. It can be a friend, just whatever. Gather, that's that spiritual component. Everybody in these longevity studies was part of a faith-based community. Now that can be a small group of people. It can be a large group of people. It just whatever it is, but somehow gathering for the purpose of something spiritual. It could be a one-on-one gathering for that purpose. Again, small group, big group, whatever. So you might do that once a week. Maybe you already do that once a week. I don't know. Number 4 is help. That's a volunteer for something. Maybe you do it anonymously and the other person doesn't know. That's fine. It could be a lone thing. Or you go get with a group and volunteer for something. That has, and you'll read in the book, that has all kinds of physical longevity benefits, believe it or not. And it leads to purpose for a lot of people. And then act is the 5th one. And that one I recommend an hour a day. And that is if you do know your purpose, if you know what you're doing, that you do that for an hour a day. So again, you can rotate between those. All right. We just went through all those. Honey, you just started watercolor painting. Yes, I bet you do. That sounds so fun. And then here's those circles, again, from the book. This is the self-limiting circle of loss, which is the opposite of the self-perpetuating circle of purpose. And that's neglect, body neglect, not body work. So sick and overweight leads to brain neglect, depression, anxiety, fear, doubt, creates world neglect, unfulfilled, lonely, bored, regretful, and it's just a circle, right? We don't want that. That's what we're avoiding here. Here's a page where you can write down, okay, I've decided my plan, what I'm going to do for the 60 days. There's some spots where you can write, what do I need to do to get ready? Maybe you need to set up a little area for your create thing that you're going to do. I like to have a certain area where my needle point is, and I can just sit down and do it. All right, then we're going to get to the planning and tracking section. So there's a monthly section. So there's just the month, and there's just three months here, because 60 days, that could go over the course of 3 months. So you just write out, what are your main things? What might get in the way? Are you traveling? Think about those things for your 60 days. I've traveled and still been able to do it. I had to think through, how am I going to do that? I've walked in airports a lot for that purpose. Then we get to weekly planning. And first of all, I really like this idea of planning your ideal week. So in the best of circumstances, what does your ideal week look like? Plan it, block plan it. That's mine, but here's a place for yours. That is your ideal. That is something you could even, I don't know, could you tear that page out? Yeah, there's nothing on the back. You could tear that page out and put it somewhere. That's your goal. That's the perfect week, right? So I think that's important to do, and just have it around, be like, oh yeah, okay, that's what I'm trying to do. That's what I'm trying to do. All right, then we get to also your every week planning. And I call it the Sunday planning checklist, because I like to plan on Sundays, ideally, like Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening. What does my next week look like? Like just, what does it look like? So here there are however many, I think there's like 8 or 9 of these spreads. So this is the Sunday planning. And you've got a brain download right here. Just get the stuff out of your brain. What's on my mind? What do I just need to get down on paper? You're going to write your 3 body work, brain work, world works. What are you doing for the 60 days? Then right here is your top 3 tasks for the week. What are the main 3 things? This could be to do with work. It could be personal. Just the main 3 things that need to get done this week. And then this side is dinner plans. And then grocery notes right here. Maybe what are you going to make? And so, you may go out to eat, or you may just make it simple, like broiled fish, broccoli, and salad. I don't know, whatever. Make it simple. And then if you need to go get something, you could put it right there or order something. Restoration activities for the week. What are you going to do that's nice to yourself? Like we have to, I have to make sure I'm doing those things. This Aura ring, one of the things it shows is your stress level and then your restoration level. And sometimes it's just like all up here at the stress level. And and it's not like I'm really stressed necessarily. I can be just having a really great conversation with somebody, and it shows up there in the stress level. So, stress is not terrible. Chronic stress is terrible. We don't want that. So anyway, we got to make sure we're doing something restorative for ourselves. All right, that's the weekly planning. Then we get to the daily planning. And there is a spread like this for each day. Okay, so this side on my mind, that is just, again, do that brain dump. Just, this is a great thing to do in the morning. Just write like everything on your mind. Sometimes we just have to get it out of our brain, get it down on paper, and it's a very calming thing to do that. Because we can just like spin, right? At the bottom, I am grateful for. That is a great thing to write down. What are you grateful for? Like one of the things on that list, be optimistic. That's important in our longevity goal, is to be optimistic. And sometimes we just have to choose that. And this helps write that down. What am I grateful for? And then this is your tracking page. So right here, you have your schedule for the day, what you got going on today. Down here, 3 good things that happened today. So at the end of the day, that's another way to keep that positive mindset, that optimistic mindset. What are 3 good things that happened? I'm sure there's 3, at least 3, right? Even if it was like my mascara did not smudge under my eyes. That's a good thing. Table here with my elbow. All right, and then on this other side, what are your top 3 tasks for today? What are the main 3 things you need to do today? Maybe it's a certain phone call. Maybe it's a certain thing with your job, or maybe it's just like I've got to get out and walk. But you're also going to track that here. But that could be one of your top things. And then right under that is, what's the dinner plan? I don't know about you. Everybody's different. I know Ebby is not this way because she is the master cook. For me, I get to and I've been this way forever. I don't think about what is for dinner if I'm just left to my own devices. And it gets to be about 4 o'clock, and then I'm like, oh my gosh, what are we gonna have for dinner? And then everything's frozen. I haven't figured it out yet. So, and then I'm stressed out. So just, knowing what that dinner plan is, or just making myself think about what that dinner plan is a good thing. And then this is your 60-day dare tracking. So you're going to write those things down that you've chosen to do and check them off when you've done them. We love to check things off, right? There's a space for 3 things in each category, but of course you only need to do 1. That's just for the overachievers of the group. And so, we've got 30 days. We've got 60 days. All the days are listed in there. And then near the end of the book, there's a page for projects, because sometimes when you're thinking about what are the tasks I need to do, it's like 15 tasks for one big project. I always think about this bathroom I had to redo when the plumbing just about was out of control. And so pretty quickly, and I remember I just wrote down all the tasks. I've got to order a towel bar. I've got to pick out the faucet, whatever. So there's just a few pages for that. And then there's a little chat about what do you do after you've finished it, because remember, 60 days is a good start. There's another section for just notes, not too many pages there, but a few. And then there is the last page that shows you about the toolkit, the Reignite toolkit, which is a PDF download. Here it is from my website, and that's only, you can't just go to the website and find it, because it's not there. You have to know to put in AllisonMcCuneDavis.com/toolkit, and it says that in the book if you have the book. But it's a 22 pages of just stuff that didn't fit in the book. All kinds of tips on coping with stress, tips on sleeping better. There's a bunch of affirmations. There's my favorite books and podcasts, my favorite supplements and practices, like if I feel like I need to boost my immune system. What do I do when I'm pushing through a cold or a flu? Some favorite products and sources and stuff like that. Okay. And then the last thing I wanted to mention is right now I am working on, with a friend, an app that will be a program where you can track your 60 days that way in this app. We will also, it'll be where a community is. So it will have, I think we'll do live weekly Zoom calls in that for accountability. Because, to do these things, accountability is really everything. It is to me. I mean, when I do things on my own, it just depends on the situation, I guess. But I think for this kind of thing, we need to help each other. And we're women, and that's what we do, right? We like to talk and, figure things out and analyze. And so that is going to be for accountability. How's it going? What did you choose to do? And just encouraging each other, right? And the 60-day tracking. So, but I'll let you know more about that as it happens. And so that is all I have. Do you have any questions about anything? And I am looking back here at the comments. Ruth Ann, sound is good. Thank you. That's good to hear, because I am using this new mic. I think it's better. Yes. Love the watercolor. Okay, I do not see any other comments, but you can keep adding comments to this, and I'll see them and answer them in writing. So I hope that was helpful on just a general look at the book, but also a look at the planner. And I hope you're enjoying it. And yeah, just let me know if you have questions, guys. Hey, Evie, how are you? All right, well, you just got on at the end, but you can go back and watch. All right, love you guys. Talk to you later.